Hey guys, this is Ethan from the Rewind Gamecast, and today we are going to review Minecraft Snapshot 15w31a/b because, they released the bug fix update. I decided to do this a little bit later, actually, so that I could get more information and also fix all the glitchiness of the last one. But I tried recording this, let me make sure it's actually working, but I forgot to turn on my mic. I was being stupid. Here we are with the second iteration of this, and hopefully it can be just as good as the first one without me exasperating the entire time. So, starting with the basic blocks, the purple blocks. These are crafted with 4 popped chorus fruits. We'll get to how you get those later. They are a very nice purple block. By the way, we're in the end for a reason. Purple block with sort of a tile thing. It's kind of smooth and stuff. You can put 2 purple slabs to get purple pillars, which can be placed sideways like you'd expect a pillar to. They have this cool little design. You can make the stairs with the normal patterns, slabs with the normal patterns, straightforward. And you can also make endstone bricks with 4 endstone in this fashion. And they kind of go well with the purple and contrast with it, with that sort of turquoisey whiteness of endstone. And all 5 of these are used in a new dungeon, End City Dungeon, in the end. And that will be at the end of this video, or maybe in a different video. Yeah, so moving on. So this is the new chorus plants, which only grow in the new area in the end. You can see I'm surrounded by them. They're everywhere. But they are quite a bit different from most, growable plant crop things, in that, they kind of branch out like this a lot. And there's 2 different ways you can harvest them. So if you just want to cut it down like normal, you don't have to use an axe, but it does make it faster, I believe. Add one here, and you just cut the bottom of it, and the whole thing will come down. And it kind of sounds like a, I don't know if this is why they named it a chorus plant, but like the drum beat thing that kind of, you get that sound effect from when it breaks like that. But it's a very unique way that it breaks, because, it goes from the bottom up. It's not just like all the supporting blocks come down. It just kind of does that. But if you want to actually grow these, you don't want to do it like this. Instead, what you want to do is, these are some that I actually started to grow. You want to find the top of the plant and cut these different things down. These are the chorus flowers, and these don't cause the whole destruction of the plant. And essentially, you can place these on endstone in any dimension, and they will eventually just start growing. Their stem will grow, and when they have this texture, that means they're still growing. Once they get this dot thing texture, that means they've matured and will stop growing, have stopped growing. So these I just kind of left. You can see this one's already starting to grow. These I just kind of left here, and they started growing. Some of the ones that ran out of room just stopped growing immediately. But yeah, that's how you grow the chorus plants. And when you cut them down like the normal way, you get these chorus fruit. And these, if I kill my hunger, like that, pretty simple. They restore the same amount of hunger as an apple, but they also do something else. They will teleport you to a random location nearby, essentially the same way Endermen do it. This can be pretty cool, actually. I mean, if you teleport near an edge, you want to be careful because you might cause yourself to fall off. But you just imagine in like PvP, in a PvP situation, you're running from someone, You just eat one of these, and you teleport somewhere and throw them off track. And you might even teleport behind them, and will allow you to get the upper hand and then attack him from behind. So, it'll be pretty fun, actually. There's one other thing you can do with the chorus plants, is that you can cook them in a furnace, and you will get the popped chorus plants, which you can use to make the purple blocks. And I'll just show you that this is a thing. I'm not lying. So, here you go. Popped chorus fruit. You can't eat these. These are like the husks of the chorus fruit. Moving on, there is a dragon head now, Ender dragon head. It works like the other heads. You can place it down, and it also has a different different model, because it's a big ass dragon head. You can put it on your face, and you have an oversized head, and when you walk around, the mouth moves. It's so derpy and hilarious, but it's a thing. This is a thing. And one other thing you can do with it that you can't do with other heads is if you activate it with redstone in any form, it will gnaw on your face. That is, if you're close enough, But it will make its mouth move up and down on its own. It's kind of funny. Just a little cosmetic thing. It doesn't drop. You can't obtain it in survival yet. It's presumably a drop from the Ender Dragon, though you never know. It might drop from like a pig, but whatever. Yeah, I'll get to that later. I don't know why I decided to do that now. So there's these new light sources called end rods. These are only found in the new End City dungeons, and they have this particle effect as well. And of course, since they're a light source, they provide light, and you can place them sideways as well. And they can connect you to each other like this, but only with 2 blocks. Otherwise, they'll just recreate the same sort of platform that they go on. But yeah, you can place them like that. And you might notice they're pretty similar to these. These are just glass panes and iron bars, but the thing that's changed with some is that they're placed in a certain way now when you place just one of them, in that they're thin bars now rather than big chunks, I guess. And they allow some possibilities. They also remove some possibilities. But one thing that's really cool about this, you might notice, it's kind of strange that this beacon has a lime color, but it's not on top of any sort of stained glass. So how is it this color? It's actually a hidden stained glass pane that's inside there. Since it is now hidden, it will since it's this size now, it can actually be hidden inside of the beam, and it will still turn it into that color. So this allows you to compress your, I guess, coloring panes. You can make it, look normal, I guess. But yeah, that's the first side of this. Now, if you right-click a shovel on grass now, you can create these new path blocks, which are, I believe, 1/16 smaller, or 1/16 of a block lower than normal blocks. So they create this sort of ridge, and they're decorative, but they look really nice, actually, for making your humble abodes. And they have the side texture. You can't obtain the actual block itself in creative, and if you mine it up, even with Silk Touch, it'll just give you dirt. But it's still very nice to have, and it does consume some of the shovel's durability, so you do have to watch out for that. We have another new crop. This is more of a standard crop rather than the chorus fruit. And you can obtain these. It's beetroots, and you can obtain these through any sort of dungeon or villager chest, or they're actually grown in the villagers' little farms, and they'll be planted by the farmer villagers, like carrots and potatoes. You grow them like most other crops. You can bone meal them to speed up their growth. And you get these beets which you can harvest. You get the beetroots themselves and the seeds, some more seeds back. Now the beetroots themselves only restore half of a hunger point, but you can combine 6 with a bowl in this fashion and create beetroot soup, which restores 3 shanks. Personally, I think they're neat. They're ported over from the console edition. No, not console edition, the pocket edition, as well as the grass paths. But I mean, it's always cool to have like new stuff, but these are not the best food source, and we already have enough food in Minecraft. But they don't restore that much for how you can get them. But they're there. They exist. That's cool. If you're really running out of food, then they're an option. Now, this is called the combat update for a reason, and that's because, it changes combat. There isn't everything in the snapshot as of yet. There isn't every single feature that's going to be in 1.9, and there's probably going to be a lot that's changed or added or maybe even removed. You never know. These blocks might be gone forever, but they would not do that. So you have a bunch of new arrows. Most of them are very straightforward. There's a special one called the spectral arrow, which is crafted with 1 arrow and 4 glowstone dust, and you get 2. And the rest are literally, they use the same ID, and they're just the effects for every basic potion that you can craft. So even the positive ones, so like night vision, invisibility, leaping, fire resistance, harming, water, somehow that works, weakness, slowness, swiftness, healing, poison, regeneration, and strength. And you can shoot these through a normal bow. And the type that is prioritized, well, the most highly prioritized is the one in your offhand slot here. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. And from then on, it goes from top left to bottom right of your inventory in terms of when it's prioritized. So, I'll have regeneration and strength arrows, but I'll only be using the strength arrows until I run out. So each one, they have the particle effects of the appropriate effect, and they will apply the effect to whatever entity they hit, including yourself. And I apply myself with strength. And you'll also notice there's a new little tab in the top right corner, and it just shows you the effect that any effects that have been applied to you, and you don't have to go into your inventory to see it. And they'll start flashing once they start running low. And they're organized in that the positive effects will be at the very top, while negative effects like weakness, strength and weakness are gonna sort of cancel each other out. But I applied myself with strength again. Gotta remember that. But the negative effects will go just below that row. So you got the very top row for positive, lower row for negative. And I don't need to show off all these arrows because they're essentially the same thing, they just apply different effects. I can show off some examples. So the arrows of healing, you can use those in PvP to heal your team members from far away by just shooting them with these healing potions. The arrows of harming are probably the most useful. They're not useful against undead mobs like zombies or skeletons because they'll just heal them as well. But to most mobs, they'll harm them, and since they apply the harming effect, they deal a lot more damage than normal arrows, and can actually much of the damage that they deal is not affected by armor protection. So these, the armor, if you're wearing armor, much of the damage is still going to get through. Let's shoot myself with one of these, and you'll see that I'm actually taking a lot of damage despite the fact that I am wearing full diamond armor. So those are slightly OP, but the idea is that you'll be able to craft whatever potion, like a normal potion, with the arrows to make these, but the crafting recipe is not currently added. But we will go over the spectral arrows, which have a unique effect. Let's apply them to some zombies, zombols, zambonis, and whatever form you want to call it. So when you shoot them with these, mobs will actually be lit up with like a glowing outline, which you can actually see through blocks. So this allows you to track them from certain distances and behind walls, and it's useful in PvP for identifying your targets when you shoot them, after they run away even. And if you have scoreboard commands, and if you're shot with a spectral arrow, you'll glow the color of your team. So say you were on red team and you got shot by one of these, you would have a red glowing outline rather than just white. They don't deal that much damage on their own, but, you know, they are pretty neat, I have to say. So yeah, and they look pretty cool in shot as well. I already showed you your crafting recipe, so we can move on to dual wielding. Now this is a thing people have been waiting for a while. Essentially, it works like so. You press F to put whatever you're holding in your offhand slot, and that, you know, it will show up on the side of your hotbar and also in this slot, but you can take it out manually if you wish. You can just press F again with an empty hand to bring the item back into your inventory. And you can, if you're holding another item while you have an offhand, you can press F to swap the items between main hand and offhand. So you see, I switch my tools like that. But the way that dual wielding works is essentially items that have a prioritized left click function will only work in your main hand. So you can only mine with your pickaxe in your left hand. If you move to right, then you'll be using your sword instead when you left click. And the same is pretty much opposite for in your offhand. Items that have a prioritized right click function, like blocks and torches. Well, torches are blocks, but they will be prioritized in your offhand slot rather than your main. So the fact that swords currently both have left click and right click means, oh, would you look at this here? I guess both functions are being used, but one after the other. That's interesting. But a good example of this would be like if you're mining and you run out of light, all you have to do is right click on the side without swapping to any of your items and it will place a torch. But if you are stupid enough, you can do this and only be able to place torches. If there is no right click function for your offhand item, then it will still use the right click from your main hand, and same with if it has a left click option and it's in your no wait, it's not the same the other way around, because you can't mine with that because you'll always be hitting with your main hand. You can't hit with your offhand. So you can technically dual wield swords, but you'll only be able to use one of those two swords in combat. And both entirety functions will be prioritized. So if I get arrows, because you know you have to use two hands in order to use a bow, no matter what you have in your right hand, you'll always use the bow if you're holding it. And it has to be in your main hand. Speaking of main hand and offhand, if you really want to be left-handed and have your main hand be your left hand, you can go to Options, Skin Customization, and change your main hand to left. So essentially I can shoot from my left hand now. Wow, I didn't try this before. And then what would be normally your main hand is now your offhand. Ow. But I don't. No one who has played Minecraft for a long time is really going to want to do that. But you know, you can place blocks this way, and it works, you know. And you can also certain mobs, well, mobs that have support for holding items in general, can be made to dual wield items using commands, and the same goes for armor stands. If you have armor stands with arms, then you can make them dual wield as well. So that's cool. Here we've got a few small things before we move on to the next stage of this review, and that there are now splash water bottles. You might think these aren't really useful. Well, I mean, they aren't really still, but they do have a function. They're not useless entirely. And that function is, say you got a roaring fire that you must put out. You can actually throw the splash water bottles on the fire, and it can actually get rid of some of the fire. You can get rid of multiple blocks, so it's honestly not that much more effective than just using your hand to put it out. But you know, it's a little cosmetic thing. I don't know if you can craft these currently, but it's a thing. It is possible. There's also this one new block, which is we can only get it through set block, or maybe even the give command, but it's only used by the Mojang devs for structure code. So you can't really use it as a player, but you know, it has a big S on it. S. Oh, I was stupid. Good thing I have mob griefing off. But I just broke one. Where did that second explosion come from? That was weird. Some small new changes to some existing mobs. I'm actually going to eat this rotten flesh here. Skeletons will actually have an animation for drawing back their bow to shoot you, and if they're far enough away and aren't targeting anyone, their arms will actually be down, still with their bow in their hand. But if I can get far, jeez, these guys have absurd vision now too. But you can see here that he's just holding it like normal now. But yeah, once you get close, he will start actually, he'll load the arrow and it will pull back and then he'll shoot. Yeah, that's cool. And then small things with Endermen. If you aggro them and they walk into water, they'll, how they teleport away. But before, they would stop being aggressive towards you. If they did that, now they'll stay aggressive. And also, if they're holding a block, they will drop the block that they were holding unkilled. So that's cool. Die, skeleton! I'm acting like such a Minecraft noob. Those people. Some people in the world. A couple of small things. Dead bushes drop sticks when broken, on occasion. I accidentally destroyed one of them before. And trapdoors can be placed without having any block to support them. I know they might look like they're supporting each other, but they're just kind of, they're placed as normal. And, this allows for much more customizability with, like, making tables and such, and you can also create these, like, corridor things here. That's about it for this. We'll head over now to the... Don't die. That was not a good idea. No. We'll head over to the new revamped Ender Dragon boss fight, either in this video or in a following video, and that will also be where we explore the End City dungeon. So, see ya! So here we are in the new End Island, well, the center island, because it's not the only island anymore. There's one of the attacks. So the Ender Dragon has a few new tactics up his sleeve, as well as the Ender Crystals, and all the obsidian pillars are arranged in a circular order, and the End Fountain has already spawned, but there's still no portal in it yet until you kill the Ender Dragon. So, you can attack the crystals like before. I'm using harming arrows to get the most out of my shooting, but occasionally the Ender Dragon will summon a fireball to attack, and he will try to, supposedly actively, when you go after the crystals, he'll try to protect them, or like become more aggressive towards you or something. That is when you attack. So you can see some of the ender crystals have... Whoa there, buddy. Some of the ender crystals... let's turn down our sound for that, just in general. But he also has this attack where he'll come down to the ender fountain and he'll start spraying dragon breath towards... Oh jeez, it's still loud. Maybe hostile creatures can go down. Bring that up a bit, but he'll spray this ender acid or dragon breath, whatever, at any nearby entities, not just players. Deals a pretty good amount of damage, but you can avoid it because you don't have to be that close. You can just shoot him, and this actually allows you to deal more damage to him. Of course, he's still being healed. So due to the fact that some of the ender crystals have cages around them, you actually have to go up to the towers and destroy the cages in order to get at the ender crystals. Fortunately, that can be pretty easily achieved, by just throwing ender portal pearls, blarb. I'm gonna die. Let's just show this off in creative. So you know you have to break the cages in order to get to the ender crystal. You can see he's sort of trying to... yeah, he's definitely surrounding me and trying to attack a bit more. Why is... Okay, that was weird. So there's only about 3 or 4 of these that are caged, and once you destroy them, you know, you're free to attack the ender dragon without him being healed. He'll still use that attack, which allows you to actually destroy him pretty quickly. I'll go into survival now just to attack him normally. So hopefully this will be a pretty relatively quick fight. Gotta be careful for the random fireballs sometimes. He actually does have pretty good aim with that. But as you can see, my harming arrows are actually dealing pretty good damage. If you can come to the center, that would be great. Dude, you gonna do that? That would have been a great shot. I've had my share with attacking the ender dragon. He moves pretty much the same way at the moment. And since he comes to the center, it makes him really easy to hit there. Sometimes it can be an easier fight. I mean, look at that. Nose-diving stupidity. But the attack is really neat, and in the future he's supposed to drop his dragon breath or something, and it's like a crafting material, but that's not currently added. Yeah, we can deal a lot of attacks. Ow! So yeah, those are the main things that have changed with his fight. Ow! Ow, ow, ow. I'll cut to when we pretty much kill him. Though I will say that you have to actually kill him when he's in the center. If you bring down his health to 0 while he's still flying around, he won't actually die until he comes down, and then you have to shoot him one more time. But, let me just get a few of these shots in. You also notice that the boss bar, it goes down a bit more smoothly now, and it's kind of like a gradual effect rather than an immediate change. Hey, nose diving. It would seem that they kind of changed his AI a little bit in maybe the latest snapshot, so that that sound is still loud though. But he'll like only stay in the center for a relatively long time when you're actually close to the fountain, where he could attack you. So that makes it a little bit harder. You have to actually get up and personal with him, and you do actually have to worry about the dragon breath. I don't actually think I need to cut since he's going to die so quickly. You'll also notice that my bow actually animates when it's drawing back in the hotbar. That's another small little thing that I forgot to mention. There we go. And when he dies, the end fountain should activate, and the dragon egg will appear on it. There you go. You still get the same amount of XP, but there's actually going to be an official way that you can resummon him and fight him again. At the moment, there's a debug way of doing this by simply putting a bunch of clay together. It says to make like a creeper face, but I think you're literally just able to place a bunch of clay down in this fashion, and it will resummon him, but his boss bar I don't think will show. Is that how I did it? I don't remember. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, his boss bar will not show up, but it's a placeholder way that you can summon him, but it'll change in the future. You'll actually be able to do it by crafting ender crystals and placing them back down. So yeah, that's it with the new Ender Dragon fight. There is one more thing that happens, and it's that this new structure will spawn outside of the island after you defeat him. And it's actually an end gateway, so this will take you to the new section of the end, which is pretty much infinite and has the new dungeons and chorus plants. And you can't enter this normally in survival. You actually have to throw an ender pearl into it, and then it will teleport you. I already have an end city set up in my other world, so see you there. Alright, we are now at the new End City dungeon, or at least one of the ones I found. It's quite massive. I also forgot to mention, though you probably saw it, that you can also now throw ender pearls in creative with actually what appears to be an increased speed. Like they'll fly faster. That could just be me. Yeah, that's probably just me. It might be that they fly faster in all versions, but yeah, you can throw them in creative mode now. That finally was realized that it made sense to do. Okay, I don't want to show that off quite yet, but you can see it's a massive sprawling tower, and you saw that I went through the end gateway, and that takes you to this whole place with all the chorus plants and these dungeons. You can see they're made up of the purple blocks and endstone bricks, and some magenta glass, and other things, like you see custom banners up there as well, and there's also a little floating ship that you'll be able to see eventually, but let us dive in. So there is actually a new mob that spawns as part of these dungeons. You might have already seen it. It's called the Shulker, and it disguises as a block, and even looks like a block until it opens up and then releases these projectiles. Now these projectiles travel directly across the XYZ axis, and they home on you. So you know, you can see here that it's tracking me, but it only goes in like very specific directions. But if it actually hits me, well, first of all, you can deflect it by just hitting it itself, like that. But if it actually hits me, which you'll see once I go in there, it will apply a new buff/debuff. It's somewhere of a middle grounds, because it can be both useful and harmful. So we'll see. But these guys, they will open up and attack you You can actually make them attack each other at the moment, and especially in this part. It's kind of hilarious. They can kill each other. But it allows you to see, they kind of... Shulker is short for shell lurker. They have like a shell, I guess. And they open up like clams and attack you normally with those projectiles. That one wanted to attack me. But yeah, they stick to whatever block they were placed on, but occasionally when you hit them, they will teleport to a new block to protect themselves, I guess. Oh, I got hit with one of them. So they apply the levitation debuff, or buff, whatever. It makes you just float uncontrollably into the air. You can still, you can move by using, left, right, up and, left and right around, forward or backward, but it'll lift you into the air. This can be useful for getting up into certain portions of the dungeon, but can also, when it runs out, then you'll fall, and then you can take a lot of fall damage. So you want to be careful about that. There is actually one room in here that is particularly useful for having them hit you, because it's parkour, sort of. So you can see there's this bottom room that's pretty empty. You got this ascending stairway. You just have to keep climbing this pretty much. These can be pretty small. The smallest I've seen is like the bottom room and then one room above it. But they can also become very sprawling. So you can see there's little bridges that can branch off from the main tower. And actually this bridge leads to the taller tower. And as you can see, there's already more shulkers appearing. They can travel pretty far along these distances. There's one up here. One thing to note about the lurkers, it just teleported away. They take a very long time to kill when they're closed. That's why in creative you might notice it takes forever with a diamond sword with sharpness 5. Well, actually 3 hits with sharpness 5, but when they're open they take a lot more damage. And you can see they peak, and even when you stand on them they act like normal blocks. They do glitch in minecarts because they're always trying to stay in the same position that they spawn in. It's a good idea to get inside here once you get that effect. You can kind of float around in this area, It's slightly useful, but, you have to be careful, of course. Oh my. Yes. So you can, kind of slowly float up. And I've experimented around with the effect when, with commands, and it actually has, the higher the potency, the higher you fly upwards. So you can use this for trolling, and you can also use commands to spawn in arrows that inflict levitation. And that's pretty fun for trolling people in PvP. But this is the room where you kind of want to be hit at least once by one of these, once or twice. There is parkour around the sides, but it involves the end rods, and that's quite difficult. But you can use these projectiles to just float all the way up, sort of. And they actually don't deal that much damage overall on their own, which is why you can don't have to worry too much. But there are certain loot chests in the majority of this entire complex, and they actually have very good loot. They actually have enchanted diamond weapons and armor, enchanted iron weapons and armor, and then the rest is pretty normal loot. But you can get really good stuff in here, unbreaking chest plates. They're pretty much randomly applied enchantments for the most part. Look at this, feather falling 4 on these. Dudes, would you stop hitting me? But yeah. So that's pretty much what you'll expect to find in here. There's some rooms that actually have an ender chest, but there is this one thing. Now, this ship will not spawn at all in city dungeons, but pretty much always at the larger ones, and sometimes at the not so large ones. But great. I'm gonna float endlessly now. I should probably. Oh, I didn't take those. Oh shoot. Let's just do that. That will definitely minimize the amount of damage we take. Um, so you have this like gateway, and then you can probably use an ender pearl. Oh my. That was a fail. Um, oh, goodbye. I'm stupid. Hold on. So the rest of this can pretty much show off in creative. So this is kind of like a floating ship. If you look on the sides, it has like ports, I guess, for whatever, and it has the captain's cabin, I guess. This has a brewing stand, which pretty much always has these two instant health 2 potions. It has this obsidian thing here for storage, I guess. It has a few shulkers and 2 loot chests. I mean, look at this. Freaking protection 4 diamond boots, like Bane of Arthropods 4. This is really good loot, actually. But it makes sense because you have to kill the Ender Dragon in order to get here. And at the current moment, this beacon actually does spawn as part of the ship. And it's really kind of OP at the moment because you don't even have to kill a wither or anything to get this. You just come in here, you take the beacon. But that is actually going to be changed in future snapshots. It was actually supposed to only be for like debug versions, but it forgot to be removed. But, you know, at the current moment, it has like a purple beacon which will actually label where the ship is. I'm going to go through the mast here a bit, but this is pretty much the snapshot. It's definitely a lot more content than there have been in some previous snapshots. So, I mean, it's cool. It's something for Minecraft. I mean, these days, Minecraft's kind of for me. But it's cool to have new stuff. I already have an idea for a map involving shulkers, but yeah, that's about it. But you see, you know, when they peak, they act like normal blocks and they make you go up. But that's about it. Thanks for watching. See you some other time. Thanks, dude. Goodbye.